Hi, my name is Sean Velasco from Yacht Club Games, creator of Shovel Knight, and welcome to the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast.
This is the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast.
Welcome into episode 41 of the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast. I am your host, Courtney Osborne, and I am joined by Lou.
Hi, guys!
Hey! And Miles.
Hello.
Oh, well, that wasn't nearly as exciting as I hoped it would
Hi!
Hello, guys! I'm here!
Okay.
Oh, man. Good times. Okay, so, let's say, we have a winner for our giveaway. Yeah?
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll! I can't do
Put that
it.
in post-production.
There you go. That's thinking. That's a lot of work, though. So...
Never mind.
Never mind. So, anyways, our winner for Valiant Hearts: The Great War on the console of choice by the winner, and a Mong T-shirt is Josh Pilgrim. Woo!
Woo! Dover King.
Yay.
Josh actually joined one of our streams last week, so that was really cool. So I got to know him through chat there.
Cool.
Yeah. So congratulations, Josh. If you don't, you should go ahead and email us at contact.mong@gmail.com, and so that we can give you a code. You got to tell us which console you want the game on, and then we need to know your address, your shipping address, so we can ship you a T-shirt and then what size shirt you want and everything like that. And
you
then
better wear it because I'll be watching.
we'll get all that taken care of. And then you'll have to take a picture with you in your shirt so we can post it everywhere and be like, yeah, look at this kid. Fucking awesome.
That'd be purity.
He's going to be the first Mong selfie. It's going to be great.
Wait, aren't you the first Mong selfie?
Well, yeah, but we didn't start that as a thing yet. It's going to be hashtag Mong selfie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's going to happen.
That sounds dirty, but okay.
It's really going to happen. It's going to be so cool. As for the other giveaway, is there anything you could say about it, Lou?
Yeah, just we're having that Shovel Knight giveaway. It's over now, so don't send us any emails or anything. But if you want to find out who wins, just keep listening to the Better Known Indie segment, which is going to follow this podcast. We announce it at the end if you want to skip to it.
Yeah, so it'll be later in the podcast, but that's where it is.
Right, and you can't be mad at anyone here if you don't win, because we asked Yacht Club Games to pick their favorite question, and they did, though they love them all.
So yeah, it'll be there. As for other stuff, before we get going, we made a video and an announcement and everything like that the other day that we actually have a bunch of new stuff or URLs and things like that. We have a new YouTube page. It's youtube.com/Mong Network. I think it's users/Mong Network. I don't even think
yes, it is.
Just /users/Mong Network.
Oh, dude, you should make a link dump.
A link dump?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways.
All the big podcasts have those.
Okay.
Though if you do youtube.com/Mong Network, it'll automatically go to user/Mong Network.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I was hoping. Anyway, so that's where that is. That's where all of our stuff is going to be from now on YouTube. Facebook.com/Middle of Nowhere Gaming is now where you can find us on Facebook. It used to be Middle of Nowhere Gaming Mong, and we got rid of the Mong at the end. And then on Twitter, we're no longer at MONG Podcast. We're now at mong.com, all spelled out. The .ncom is spelled out. And then we added a new email address, and it's contact.mong@gmail.com. Though you could still send emails to mong.podcast@gmail.com for questions and comments and things like that for the podcast. But anything else, website related, news related, anything other than the podcast, go ahead and email us at contact.mong@gmail.com. Oh, that was a lot. Okay.
Housekeeping done.
Housekeeping done. Let's move on to the news from nowhere. Yeah? Yeah? No? Yeah?
No.
No?
No.
No?
No. Oh, should we also mention that we already kind of mentioned, but make sure that we'll say it again at the end, but make sure to keep watching or listening, however you're doing this, for the interview with Yacht Club Games.
Oh yeah, big week.
Yeah.
Big week. Excellent interview. So definitely listen to the whole thing. Those guys are crazy.
Crazy fun.
Crazy fun. Yes, very much. Okay, so news. Do this thing. Who would take number 1? Which is number 2?
Yeah, we're doing number 2. I'll go ahead and take that.
Do it.
So, for all you lovers of Sharknado, the video game has been announced for iOS, not really systems or consoles, but iOS things. Yeah, that was a very interesting announcement that I did not see coming.
I didn't
in
either.
Way, shape, form, or fashion.
I had no idea that was coming.
I honestly thought it was going to be a full console release at one point, and I was like, I might have to play this just so I could laugh all that hard.
Yeah, when I saw that there was going to be a Sharknado game, I was immediately like, tell me this is coming to PlayStation 4. Please tell me this is coming to PlayStation 4. But not to my... well, I don't know. Fuck it. Go on. Continue.
Oh, well, yeah. It's going to be a endless runner type of game for iPhone and iPad devices. And the game's price is yet to be revealed, but I'm sure it's going to be sharktastic.
What does that mean?
It means nothing.
Oh.
Pretty much it's going to be brought to us by Majesco Entertainment, the people behind Blood Rain and Jaws Unleashed.
Pretty
fitting.
much.
And it will produce the game. Oh, they will produce the game while Other Ocean, the people behind Ultimate Mortal Kombat, will be developing it. So again, something that you probably didn't see coming. Yeah. And the sci-fi or sci-fi, since that's how that should sound, Vice President Jeff Lee believes that Sharknado franchise is instantly accessible to anyone, and it must be because the story is ridiculous. And that cultural background, age, or even viewers' familiarity with the movie's plot or book. Oh my god, there's a book?
I had no idea.
Okay, or book, to appreciate the excitement and terror of a tornado of sharks and what it has to offer. And the video game tie-in is the perfect way for the Sharknado brand to reach a wider audience.
Now, see, here's where he's wrong. You guys are from the East Coast. Do you even know what a tornado is?
Yes.
Have you seen one?
I slept through one.
You slept through one. Damn.
They said there's a couple warnings by us at some point. It never happened.
I was gonna say, has that ever actually been a thing over there? Because
you've never seen a hurricane, I believe.
We've been hit by the hurricane storms. They still hit us.
Not a real hurricane.
We still get the rain that floods the entire state.
But you ain't never seen the real hurricane.
You ain't ever seen a tornado on a weekly basis.
You know what? You ain't never seen a Sharknado. I don't think anyone's seen that.
That's true.
The closest Courtney's ever gotten to a hurricane is just Baja Blast.
There you go. That was good. Oh, good times. Actually, the storm the other night that knocked out the power was probably pretty close to a hurricane. That was fucking intense. But yeah.
Is it a conversational podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it a Baja cane?
Not a Baja cane.
Awful.
Yeah, no. Dude, like fucking power went out. Like I was talking to Lou. We were recording that video for our old YouTube. And I'm talking to Lou, and I'm like, oh, shit, is this supposed to storm? Because I was just talking about how I was going to be playing games all night. And Lou was like, oh, looks like you ain't going to be playing games. And I'm literally in the middle of the sentence of being like, nah, it's going to be okay. And the power just fucking goes out. I was like, no!
You hear that wonderful sound that, like, sometimes when our power goes out, I hear, like, a click and then, like, everything in the house powering down.
Yep, that's exactly what it was like. Oh, man, it sucked balls.
Moving on?
Yeah. Moving on. Number 2, Destiny's... Oh, why would you give me this one?
You chose that one.
No, I didn't choose anything.
I chose it for
Lou wrote it on me.
I'll take it.
I was going to say, Miles wrote this story.
Okay, fine, I'll take it. Anyway, the Destiny Collector's Editions have been announced. There's Ghost Edition, Digital Guardian Edition, and the normal Limited Edition for all you basic dudes out there. Anyway, and also the beta dates have been announced. So yes, excitement. Feel it.
Feel it! I mean, believe it! So.
Now, what's in the Ghost Edition? What's in the other Collector Editions? Can we get a brief rundown?
Yes, we can. So pretty much all of the physical editions, which is Ghost and the normal limited, will have the Destiny game, of course, the steel Destiny branded case, a handwritten field notes book, Antique Star Chart, leather-bound Guardian Folio. I assume that's just a notebook that looks fancy and Destiny-esque.
Fancy.
Yeah, fancy.
Fancy.
4 Golden Age postcards, and that's from like the Earth before the darkness came in and just wrecked it. The passes for the first 2 Destiny expansions, which is a $34.99 value. And then you also get 3 skins that will be for your ship, your ghost, and your player emblem. And then if you get the Ghost Edition, you get a life-size replica of your in-game ghost that lights up and has lines from Peter Dinklage, and it's just an absolutely wonderful little piece of gaming memorabilia.
It's a witch from the moon. Sorry.
That is a wizard from the
Wizard,
moon. Yes.
whatever. I don't fucking care.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
The line didn't bug me like it bugs everybody else on the internet.
It didn't actually bug me all that much. It was weird. But...
Yeah, I mean, whatever. You just kind of like, yeah, it's a game.
Also, I kind of didn't say this, but yeah, there are different price points. The limited edition is going to be $99.99.
That's a lot. Keep going.
What?
Keep going.
Oh, okay, the Ghost Edition is $149.99.
Holy shit!
Yeah, well, you get Peter Dinklage in a box. So,
Oh.
oh my god, I didn't even mean to do that. Anyway, and the Digital Guardian Edition is $89.99.
It's a Dinklage in a box.
Oh no.
We gotta make a YouTube video now.
Oh.
Anyway, so as a question to the group,
yeah,
how much money have we wasted so far
on
this? Or
I have
said that we're gonna waste. Promise we will waste in the future.
I have promised to waste $149.99 on it at least.
If by the time I fall into the cash that I expect to, I will be wasting that much too, probably.
Well, technically, I will say I've wasted $300 because I talked a friend into getting the Ghost Edition also.
Oh, nice.
Yep, that's me too. I went and bought it right away on Amazon before they sold out, so I'm in that group.
Yeah, it was just a few hours later, and Miles tried to buy it on Amazon. It was already sold out.
Yeah, I had to race a semi-truck to my local GameStop to make sure I got it.
Nice. Okay. Well, let's move on.
Yay.
Okay. Next is me, right?
Yep. You wrote your name.
Okay. Cliffy B returns and announced his free-to-play shooter, tentatively called Blue Streak.
Blue Streak.
Yep, that is the story. He
That
did
is
an
an
AMA
Arctic
today.
Orange movie.
What?
He did an AMA today where he was supposed to talk about it. Mostly it was just people asking him about things with gaming culture and his opinions on games, which is normally what any conversation with Cliffy B boils down to. But he really likes the Oculus Rift, for everyone who's wondering.
Oh,
Huh.
that's good.
He has dreams about it.
He likes
For all of those, 0 people that were wondering about that.
he likes everything that's not conventional gaming now. You know? So,
He sounds like such a hipster.
he is. He's totally that. He's a rock star. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 4. Secret bases have been confirmed for Pokemon Alpha, Ruby, and Omega Sapphire. Okay, so
Wait. That's the other way around.
Alpha, Ruby, and yeah. Whoever
It's
wrote
Alpha
that.
Sapphire.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is.
It's Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah.
I didn't
it
write
is.
that. I copied and pasted that.
The
So-
Buck-
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
The buck stops here, Courtney. You're the president.
Well, okay. You must not have been available for edit. Okay, so let's move on. According to the announcement, you can customize your base however you'd like, and you can even make it into your own personal Pokemon gym, where other players from around the world can challenge you. If you find a trainer you like and you make them your secret friend, they'll return with you to your secret base so you can challenge other players. When our writer was originally writing the story, that sentence right there sounded really, really stalker-ish.
Dude, it still sounds bad.
I know it does. Okay, so there's also a capture the flag activity thing where you can infiltrate another player's base, grab their flag, and return to yours. Returning the flag will unlock abilities for secret friends in your base. Ranks are displayed by color of the flag in each player's base. Another feature is the QR code support. It allows for you to visit a specific person's base by scanning their QR code. This will allow for like famous gamers and celebrities to post their QR codes on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, so that you could scan it and then go to their base and then battle against them and see them and stuff like that and see what they set up their base like. Secret bases were in the original Sapphire and Ruby, and I remember my brother and I trying to make them like the coolest thing ever when it was really lame. It wasn't really that cool back then, but it was new to Pokemon at the time, so it was cool. But this definitely sounds like they've stepped it up a lot. Like, this is way better than it was. I can't even imagine making my own gym. Like, that's really fucking cool sounding.
I don't know, to be honest. Like, from the pictures that I saw, it just looked like the old secret bases. It didn't look all that impressive. Now, that's not to say that I think this is going to be bad, because I hope it's good, because what Pokemon gamer doesn't want to be a gym leader? It's just I'm on the fence about it right now.
Okay, well, it's definitely something we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? I'm just excited that Sapphire is being remade and it's going to be 3D and everything. So
this is true.
Moving on.
Yay.
Yay.
Lou, do you want this one or should I take it?
I got two very soon after, so you could take it.
Okay, take them down. All right, there are a few new Halo Master Chief Collection announcements. Ugh. The popular Halo 2 map, Coagulation, is getting remastered for the Master Chief Collection. Yay!
Yay!
Along with this announcement, 343 revealed at RTX that a new vehicle called the Gun Goose, just imagine that how it sounds, a goose with guns, will debut in Halo, the Master Chief Collection, along with its own game mode, called Gun Goose CTF. The Gun Goose is a mongoose ATV armed with a machine gun. Wonderful.
I'm excited.
I mean, yeah, I saw the picture of it. It looks like a mongoose, and they just slapped a giant gun on the front. I'm okay with that.
I loved Coagulation, so that's really cool that it's getting remastered. And I love the idea that they're changing up the fucking mongoose, because I hated the mongoose. It was just a fucking little ATV that was hard as shit to control, and adding a fucking gun to it will make it way cooler. I would love to be able to like fucking Twisted Metal like battle each other with gun gooses.
Oh god, that would actually be really fun.
This fucking giant Halo map, and have 8 players all in gun gooses with guns just fucking trying to destroy each other. That would be so cool.
It's just so much fun to say Gun Goose.
Gun Goose. Definitely not a Halo sounding name though.
That is true.
But whatever.
Maybe call it like the Honey Badger.
The Honey Badger? Okay. I'm not sure, but we could nickname it that. How about that?
Honey Badger for
Honey
win.
Badger. I'm gonna get into a match the first time I get on one. I'm like, I got the Honey Badger.
Why don't we just advertise ourselves? The Mong Goose.
See, yeah. Okay, move on.
This one's me.
Yeah, you wrote your name.
I did write my name. Airtight Games, developer behind Murdered Soul Suspect, closed its doors last week after 10 years in the video game industry. The independent studio shut down without warning less than a month after the launch of Murdered Soul Suspect. The studio recently laid off 14 employees in April to restructure their team. Airtight Games is also known for Dark Void and Quantum Conundrum. Quantum Conundrum being their most well-received game. How do you feel, Courtney?
It sucks to see another developer close their doors. We've seen so many of these happen over the past few years. It's crazy, and it's crazier to see a company who's been around for 10 years close their doors. Like, that's, even if they don't make huge games or really popular games, it sucks to see another person who is making games have to actually stop.
It's the death of the middle tier.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. But, oh well. I mean, I enjoyed Murdered Soul Suspect. It's not a half-bad game for them to go out on. However, I don't agree with the whole internet hubbub that happened last week when this whole thing went down, and there were fans online blaming IGN, saying that because of their bad score, that's what ended up shutting them down, and they were calling Lucy O'Brien like all these bad names, and it was like all through the night after this happened, and saying that IGN is so disrespectful and they don't even know the power they have, and they swing around all these horrible scores to these games with companies who are on the verge of closing down anyways, and they force them to close down because they don't pay attention to this kind of stuff. They just don't care. I was like, you guys are fucking stupid. That pisses me off.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I mean, you can't blame IGN for giving their honest rating to a game, and they're not. It's not like they're just going to the big name studios and saying you get a 10 and these small ones don't because they don't have the money to fund it. Shovel Knight, which is a Kickstarter game, they just didn't have the money to even start that game. Got one of the highest scores for IGN in maybe within the year.
Yeah,
so
they got one of the few scores that were over 9, right?
Yeah,
for IGN.
They're the top contender right now for Game of the Year. That's what they said in the Game Scoop podcast for that.
And that's crazy for a game who didn't have the money and who is such a little bitty game and everything like that. So, or a little bitty game in the terms of it's not like on the production value of something like Murdered Soul Suspect, because the production value of Murdered Soul Suspect was like crazy. It was very, very, very pretty game. So, sucks. So, you said you had 2. You don't want to take the next one? Or you are?
No, I'm not taking.
Okay.
I'll take the one after.
Okay. The final piece of news is that Ken Levine announced on Twitter what the BioShock Vita game could have looked like if 2K and Sony had ever got their partnership together. He announced it like in a few tweets back to back. He said that he was thinking that it would be a Final Fantasy Tactics style set in pre-fall Rapture. That 2K and Sony couldn't put the deal together, and when he last checked, but they seemed way more optimistic about it back in 2011. And he wishes that he could do it himself, but he says lawyers and all that. I still love my Vita. So
that would have been awesome.
I know, right? That would have been really cool. Everyone wants a BioShock game on the Vita. Everyone wants an Infamous game on the Vita. You know, those games, they have to come eventually. We have to get them. Come on. I don't know.
I kind of wonder how you would play that in, like, tactics style, though.
I know, me too. Like
who would your team be? A bunch of splicers?
Yeah, but can you imagine with the Ken Levine's mind, he has all these ideas and stuff, he could have come up with something really cool. He probably
got a whole team of Big Daddies.
Oh, dear God. Oh, no. Oh, okay. So, we don't have any listener questions this week, right? I don't think we did
We had a lot from Jake.
We did?
Yeah, he sent it by email.
Oh, okay. On our MONG Podcast email?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, let me switch over to that real quick.
All right. Should we answer a few of those, or we're going to hold off for that for now? Okay.
No, we got some time. What time is it? We got another 10 minutes probably.
All right. I got them up if you want.
I have one up.
He has 3. Do you see the ones about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Okay.
Can we copy pasta these into the document so I can see them?
Yeah, sure. Well,
thank you.
Burn some time.
Yeah, talk
about
Jesus.
something then.
The monkeys, banana bread, cakes.
Monkeys, banana bread, cakes.
I just went from thing to thing. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. You're good at this.
All right, so how about you start reading that first question?
Sure. All right, this one comes from Jake Keel from PlayStation Vita.
They all come from Jake Keel.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to say this. This is from my heart, Jake. I love you, man. You haven't forsaken us. Anyway, all right. This first... Oh, God, you keep moving them. Okay, this first one from Jake is we are less than a month away from the new TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, movie. Will Michael Bay ruin the Turtles like he ruined Transformers? That is yet to be seen, and I don't think he's ruined Transformers. He did some very stupid things with them from time to times, but I admit, I think they look cool. At least they look good. And I mean,
I think they look stupid.
really?
the turtles, like, I mean, I honestly,
no. I meant the Transformers.
Oh,
not the turtles.
sorry.
The turtles look horrible.
I was I was imagining the turtles. The Transformers look cool. Of course they do.
Yeah, I mean they're freaking Transformers. How do you make those look? Well, though, never mind. There's probably a really good way to make them look bad, but I don't think you ruined the Transformers.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about it, Lou? No.
I haven't seen Transformers ever, so I really hope he doesn't ruin them because I hate people complaining on the internet, and they do that a lot after these things.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's like anything that has had fans for years. They will find something they don't like about it, and they will make sure everyone knows.
For sure. Okay. Next one.
All right. Am I reading it?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Another one from Jake. Again, our savior of men. There you go.
To be fair, just so everyone knows, it's not that we don't get questions. It's that most of the questions this week were for the Shovel Knight, which was all questions.
Yeah.
Along with our Guacamole drink box questions, which will follow next week. So we've had like 50 questions. It's just not here.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. In which case, Jake, I don't love you anymore. I was thinking about renting The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I did some research and read it wasn't very good. No, God, that was too close. Wasn't very good, unlike the movie, which was awesome. This brings me to my question. What is the best game you've played that's been based off of a movie?
Ooh.
That is a very good question, actually.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything over on my shelf that's based off of a movie? I don't think so.
I actually kind of make it a rule not to play movie games because I know most of them are bad.
Oh, well, no. Okay,
Does
so
Kingdom Hearts count?
it's not based off of a movie.
It's based off of many movies.
No.
I wouldn't say that counts.
Okay, so now that does bring up how do we classify this? Are we classifying that it has to be the movie game or a game based off of a movie series?
We should do
so it's
one
like
that's based off. We should do one that's actually a third, like a licensed title kind of game.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like Transformers, what was it? War for Cybertron or something like that.
That was not based off the movie, though.
Yeah, that's different from Dark of the Moon.
Yeah.
So, and there's that game too, and one's a movie game and one's not. One's just based off the series.
Yeah.
So are we actually gonna do licensed movie games? So it has to be the same title.
That seems like that's like what this question is. Like,
I got one.
Okay.
Scott Pilgrim, the video game.
Ooh.
oh God, that's
That's a really good one.
yeah, that's good, but that's also based off a comic book.
Well, it's based off a lot. It's a movie based off a comic book. So the game's a video game based off a movie based off a comic book.
Okay.
Inception.
That's too timey-wimey for me. I'll go with that.
I don't know. Do you have another one?
I have none.
You have none? I'm gonna go with that's Arkham Asylum's not one of them.
No.
I'm gonna go with Super Mario World again because there was the Super Mario movie.
Yeah, but I don't think it was based off of it.
The Prince of Persia.
I'm gonna go with like Star Wars on like Super Nintendo or something like that. There's a really good one that I liked when I was growing up, but I don't remember which one it was, so it must not have been that good.
We can all just agree that this is a very difficult question.
Toy Story 3. Sorry. Go on.
There aren't many good licensed movie games. Though I did enjoy the Lego movie game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
But yeah, it's a difficult question because so many developers don't actually actual developers don't work so well with the content material.
Okay, I've got one, and I've got two of them, but one of them I actually played and know of. The Lion King game.
Yes.
Loved that game. Oh my god. So good. But that may just be nostalgia.
No, it's not. I played it again. That and the Aladdin game.
Yeah. Actually, I do remember Aladdin. And then the other one that I've never played, but I know everyone loves is GoldenEye. I know that one's a huge one. So, but anyways, that's good enough for that one.
Next question.
Okay.
Am I reading it out?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. It's no secret that the internet/gamers are very negative and like voicing their opinions. I, on the other hand, like to see more positive gamers, and I'm going out of my way to be more positive. Do you feel gamers are too negative? What would you say to a gamer who wants to be more positive, and how can they do that? How do you think being a positive gamer can impact the gaming industry? I want to just jump in right away on this one. Because I was always very negative about new games that came out, and that was mostly due to my expectations of them. I would say try not to take part in the hype as much as you can. When I see a game comes out, and as soon as I know that I'm buying that game and I want to play it, I just turn everything off around it, and games have been better for it.
Yep.
Like, for instance, I love Destiny. I'm probably going to play parts of Destiny beta, but I'm not going all in on it just because I want a lot of everything to be fresh and new and amazing and, all that good stuff. Christmas isn't as good if you look at your presents beforehand, and it's the same thing with games.
Yeah. I agree with you on the whole hype thing. I get excited for games when they're announced, and I see a trailer and I see something cool. I'm like, oh, that game looks really cool. But I for some reason, I just never let it get to the point to where, like, I'm sitting there thinking, this game's going to be so good. This game's going to be the best. Oh my God, I'm just so excited for this game. Oh my God. Like, people get that way, and I just don't get why. Like, it's going to come out and it's going to be good. Just wait to play it. Quit, like, spoiling yourselves by only thinking about it and looking up everything you can possibly find out about it. Like, that leads you to disappointment. Very few games can keep up with the hype. Very few of them can. Titanfall. Really good example. Titanfall had no staying power. It was supposed to be the system seller. It was supposed to be the next big thing. And I have not heard anything about it other than, hey, another DLC pack's coming out. That's it. You don't ever hear about it. You don't see gameplay videos going up all over the place. You don't see, all this streaming stuff about anything Titanfall. You still see that about Call of Duty.
Hearthstone. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of Hearthstone.
So tired of hearing about it, or so tired of playing it?
Hearing about it. I played it for like a week, and I was like, this isn't all that great. And now, all of my friends are into it, and they're just like,
yeah, I can't play it either. Don't worry. I'm not into it.
My friends who are listening to this, be assured that wasn't you.
Even if you do play Hearthstone, it's not you.
All right, how about we move on to the last question?
Sounds good. Who's fielding it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
My family has noticed that I've been playing my Vita and PS3 more than my PS4. They brought this up to me, and I told them that it's because I've been playing JRPGs, and there aren't many of them on PS4. When will we see some JRPGs or WRPGs on PlayStation 4? JRPGs, of course, is Western RPG or Japanese RPGs. WRPGs are Western RPGs. That's what I meant to say. Role-playing games, blah blah blah, stuff, shit. When are we gonna see JRPGs on PS4? Next year. We're gonna see a few of them this year. Yes, I know.
Natural Doctrine.
Natural Doctrine. I know that's not a JRPG. That is a strategy RPG. There are going to be JRPGs coming. Yeah, there are going to be JRPGs coming next year. It's not a whole lot's announced right now.
What does Child of Light fall under?
It's JRPG inspired.
Okay.
Yeah, they're coming, and there are going to be some this fall, but they're not going to be the Final Fantasies. They're not going to be any of that kind of stuff until next year, the following years. It's just not a whole lot of big ones coming yet.
Got Dragon Age Inquisition on the way.
Yeah, that's Western. I was talking JRPG. I didn't get to Western yet. But yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition is coming this fall. Other than that, though,
I'm looking through the list now.
You can't even count Shadows of Mordor, or Shadow of Mordor is not or RPG. It's an action-adventure game, which There's a difference. That's not an RPG.
Right. I think a big issue with a lot of this is that most Japanese developers are still developing for the PS3 because that's
Yep.
still what's taken over
There are more of them.
Japan.
Yeah, there are more. There's a bigger install base of PlayStation 3 than there is PlayStation 4 in Japan, which is why you see games like Persona 5 coming out on PlayStation 3 and Tales of Zestiria coming out on PlayStation 3. And even this year was Final Fantasy Lightning Returns on PlayStation 3, even though the PlayStation 4 was already out. You know, it's like they don't want to take the time to develop for a console that doesn't have a lot of users yet
Right.
in Japan.
Keep in mind the sales charts lately when we've been seeing what we've been seeing hardware-wise. I mean, it's been a consistent thing where the Wii U has been beating the PlayStation 4 just about every month in Japan. So if that gives you any kind of good idea of what they're developing for over there, just expect a lot of Vita stuff.
Yeah, a lot of Vita stuff.
I really want a new Shin Megami Tensei for PS4. I think that would be wonderful.
I want a lot of stuff for PS4. I want the next Tales game to be on PS4, but that's not going to happen.
I would actually play it if it came out for PS4.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, maybe you could play them on PlayStation Now whenever that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thanks, douche.
What? No, I'm excited for now.
Okay.
I don't know when it's happening.
All right, so game releases this week, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
Like, what?
Let's go back and forth. How about that this time?
Okay.
We've never done it like that.
I want to do PlayStation 3 because it has something I want to say.
Go ahead.
All right, PlayStation 3 releases for this week. One Piece United World Red comes out on Tuesday. Yayo, got a dream, man. Okay. The Wolf Among Us episode. The Wolf Among Us episode 5, Cry Wolf, comes to us on Tuesday. Mousecraft on Tuesday. Another World 20th Anniversary Edition. I don't know what that is. Comes to us on Tuesday. Le Tour de France Season 2014 on Tuesday. Sacra Terra. Kiss of Death comes to us on Tuesday. I just spit everywhere.
All of those were Tuesday, so you could have just said all of these on Tuesday.
I did not see that, and I didn't want to take the risk.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. On PlayStation 4, Mousecraft and Another World 20th Anniversary Edition, both on Tuesday.
And for the PlayStation Vita, we have 2 Tuesdays, 1 Wednesday. On Tuesday, you can expect to see Mousecraft. Well, it's already there.
Yeah, it's already Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So all of them are out now by the time you're listening. There's Mousecraft, Another World, 20th Anniversary Edition. By the way, that game's supposed to be fantastic. It's a really old remake. And I've heard great things about it. Not a lot of reviews online, but it's something that I can't wait to try. But I know people have a lot of fond memories with Another World. Also, Might and Magic, Duel of Champions, Forgotten Wars.
Forgotten Wars.
Yes.
Oh,
Next.
is it me?
Yeah, come on, guys.
Rotational.
For Xbox 360, we have The Wolf Among Us Episode 5, Cry Wolf, on Wednesday, today. Also, Might and Magic, Duel of Champions, Forgotten Wars, today.
On Xbox One, we have...
Good. Okay, on PC, we have The Wolf Among Us, Episode 5, Cry Wolf.
If you didn't get that, that means there was nothing on Xbox One this week. Go on.
We have Whispering Willows, The Escapists, and The Red Solstice, and Retro Booster, which is coming out on Friday.
Woo!
Yay. And for Wii U, we have One Piece Unlimited World Red on yesterday. Tuesday, depending on when you're listening to this. Yayo, got a dream, man.
And the same damn game comes out on 3DS also. So.
Yayo, got a dream, man.
Okay, so before we go into this next segment, we're not all going to be on it, so we're going to go ahead and sign off, the normal sign off real quick. We record the podcast normally on Tuesdays and release it on Wednesdays. And you can email us at both of our new email addresses. If you want to email us for the podcast, you can email us at mong.podcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to contact us about anything else, you can email us at contact.mong@gmail.com. You can find our new Twitter account at mong.com, all spelled out, the dot and the com. And then you can find us on YouTube at our new channel, and it's youtube.com/MONG Network. And then our new Facebook. Whoever liked the old Facebook should like the new Facebook. We merged 2 pages together, so that's how all that happened. But it is facebook.com/Middle of Nowhere Gaming. And then you can find us on Tumblr and Instagram and iTunes and other stuff. Isn't there other stuff? I swear there's other stuff. There's a lot now.
What new reviews went up this week?
I have no idea. What were they again? Divinity, Original Sin, and Guacamelee. Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah. Guacamelee! So, thank you again for listening to us all ramble. You can find us all on Twitter. You can find me at Osborne_2009. You can find Lou at
Lou Cantaldi.
And you can find Miles at
Furious Milk.
Okay. Lou, take us away. Mong?
Mongalicious.
Welcome into the second installment of Better Known Indie, brought to you by Middle of Nowhere Gaming. I'm your host and your one and only Nintendo ninja, Lou Cantaldi, and I'm here with some of the staff of Yacht Club Games, creator of Shovel Knight. How about I let you guys introduce yourself for a bit?
Sure. My name is Nick Wozniak. Most people call me Woz. I do the pixel art for Shovel Knight, and this is also...
And I am Sean Velasco, and I do game design and direction and level design, and Woz also does a million other things at the Yacht Club, and so
does Sean.
Yeah.
Okay. This is always a mandatory question for us, but besides Shovel Knight, which everyone has on their playlist lately, what's on your guys' video game playlist?
Oh, my playlist. Actually, I'm playing through a large backlog of games right now, and I'm actually playing Order of Ecclesia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started playing it on the plane. We just got back from, me and another guy from Yacht Club just got back from a SuperCon in Florida, and there I just had like some old DS games, and so I hadn't played Ecclesia yet, so I'm starting playing it now.
Oh, that's such a good one.
It's a really fun game. Yeah,
you should have played that before you made Shovel. I've been playing like Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame you.
Oh my god, it's so, I got completely hooked, and I just heard that they have new expansions coming out.
Yep. And
so, yeah, I'm really excited for that. I've delved into Dark Souls 2 like a tiny little bit, but really, I kind of been taking a break after such a strenuous Shovel Knight time. It's kind of nice to have a break from screen time for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. When did you start Hearthstone? Like, when did you start playing that?
It had to have been only... I got that green card back for being at whatever level. So that was like the first time that they did a cutoff, right?
That wasn't the first time, I believe. There was one the months before that.
Okay, then I started after the first time then. The green card back, I think, is the first one that I got.
Okay, we'll make sure to trade battle tags after this. I specialize in being aggressively mediocre at Hearthstone.
I was going to say, that's my specialty, too. Yeah, we should be even
aggressively mediocre.
Before we launch into the listener questions, we have to make sure that we give you the hi from Housemark. We were interviewing Housemark for the same kind of segment last week, and in the ending, we were saying along the lines of, make sure you tune in next week for our interview with Shovel Knight. And everything just dropped for a second, and the person we were interviewing said, "Oh my God, you're doing Shovel Knight." I downloaded and I'm about to play the shit out of that game. So they said, make sure you say hi from Housemark.
Oh, awesome, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Housemark.
Cool. What's up, Housemark? How's it going?
All right, so now we're going to launch right into listener questions. First, Danny Barra, we're going to get this out of the way because I know everyone asks you this question, but Danny Barra and Josh from our website said, do you plan to expand Shovel Knight distribution to Sony and Microsoft platforms?
I would say that's definitely something that we're looking at right now. We don't have anything to announce right now, but we've said several times before that we want Shovel Knight to be on every platform that it makes sense, for Shovel Knight to be on, and we want to get it spread to as wide of an audience as possible. So
yeah, we don't want the reason to be someone that's not playing Shovel Knight. But like the reason shouldn't be that they can't get it,
right? Because they don't have the platform.
Exactly. So our plan is to release it as far as the eye can see.
So yeah, I would say there are definitely plans to bring Shovel Knight to more platforms, but we don't have any specifics really to talk about right now.
Okay, and for future games, I know it's probably early to be thinking about this, or you might be in pre-development, but do you plan on doing this kind of tiered launch like you're doing right now, or would you just drop it all in one? I know this was a Kickstarter game, so you kind of had to do that.
Well, what the plan has always been, just do what we can. We have actually only 2 programmers here at the team, so it's hard to say like what we're capable of in terms of just like being able to promise and not overstretch our team too much. Back when we were talking about what platforms to be on for our initial launch, it wasn't a discussion of what platforms do we not want to be on. It was just like, what can we do? And so we obviously chose Nintendo because that was just like the heritage of what the game is. But we're not exclusive or anything like that, but we also just like, we're going to do what we can do for all future releases.
Just as a small group. Well, I mean, who knows? Let's say Shovel Knight sells a bajillion copies, and then we hire, several new programmers, and we, and then maybe we'd be able to do a big simultaneous launch, on every platform under the sun. But then again, I mean, that may not always be advantageous to us, So I guess we'll just have to see the opportunities as they come. But I mean, that isn't to say it's like we definitely would want to have Shovel Knight, and I'd say any future games on all the platforms where it makes sense to have them. And I say it with that qualifier. Like, for example, on iOS, like on iPhone or on iPad, you thought about, well, are we going to bring Shovel Knight, there? And it seems like it would be an enormous market, and, a lot of people, tons and tons of people have iPhones. But there's no D-pad and buttons, and there's no way that we could really get that great control out of it that we wanted to. And like for something like that, that's where we don't want to compromise,
Right, especially because Shovel Knight is so about the control. It's not on here, but you kind of mentioned possible growth, maybe this, maybe that. I was just wondering, can you give us any kind of information about how Shovel Knight's doing sales-wise? I bet you can't give me numbers, but...
Yeah, it's doing well. It's doing about... maybe better than I expected, but just me personally.
Yeah, I'd say it's doing better than we were, like, better than our expectations. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's awesome. It's doing well.
It's doing really strong on the Nintendo platforms as well.
Yeah, like we're gonna be okay. Our studio will continue to exist.
Right.
And if we needed to hire someone, like now we probably could. And if we needed to get an office with a window, like that could be like something that we could do too.
Or like take a week off or something.
Right, yeah. So it's really it's really good, and I'd say we're very happy so far. But it's only been 10 days. Right? Or something like that.
Oh, has it only? Oh my God! I've played the game so much, I can't believe it's only been out for 10 days.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next question. Waz, you said you did the sprite work, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got the next.
My rule.
We got the next question for you. Otanis, I believe, on our website asks, "I'd like to know how long it took to make all the sprites for Shovel Knight until he was fully movable. Kind of experimenting with RPG Maker," he says. So he's interested.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the basic core mobility of Shovel Knight happened really fast. It was a coordination between actually me and Sean, and it just took a couple of days to get him moving around.
Yeah, I mean, once you have the idea of what you want your character to do, then the next thing we would do is like write up a big list of all the animations and the assets that we needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I would break that down into what the actual animations, further broke it down into, and then just make them.
So like a jump, for instance.
Yeah, like a jump, and in this case was a jump, like one frame for the rise and one frame for the fall. In previous games that we worked on, a jump can be anywhere between 14 frames or so, depending on if the character has a cape or if it's 7 frames.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. It's like whenever a character has like a ponytail or a cape or any like flowing clothing, then all of a sudden your 1 frame jump animation becomes like a 6 frame jump animation because you have the cape flowing.
Yeah, I think for Batman, when we worked on the DS one, he had a 14 frame jump, and
that
it
was
like
that was beautiful.
very smooth when his cape landed. And luckily, I didn't have to animate that, but yeah. So it's just like it depends on what the style of the game you're doing. For Shovel Knight, because it's NES, 1 frame jumps or 1 frame rise, 1 frame for the fall.
It's a
pretty easy.
6 frame run.
Yeah.
He has a skid. He has a get hit. He has a death frame, and he has like that jump in, where he does that little flip. That thing's like more frames than like all the others.
Yeah, that's like 8 frames just so. And he has just an idle, which is 1 frame.
Right. So I think it's probably safe to say that we did all the Shovel Knight animations one day.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But that is to say that the core mobility, the rest of the stuff came later. There was like, we did the original stuff just for 1 level, which was the Pridemore demo.
Right. There were no items.
Yeah.
There was no.
Well, there was the wand, but that was it.
Right. Yeah. So it's like all of that extra mobility that you had. Like we had a ladder climb, but like, could you hit off of the ladder?
I don't think so.
Yeah. And we had the only item animation we had was the fire rod, and that was just like a 1 framer. So it was really fast to get the basics in, and same thing with the core mobility, right? Like that was. Within the first couple of days, we had Shovel Knight jumping and moving around and doing everything. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's about how long it took. But then for the entire development, we were making tweaks, to all sorts of things, from hitboxes to the relics to there's a little jump buffer on Shovel Knight when you jump. That's like a few frames. So if you press the jump button like a frame or 2 or 3 before you land, then Shovel Knight will jump again. It's like little touches like that, that we just hammered on for the entire development.
Right.
Yeah, Shovel Knight was actually one of the smaller characters, so he was pretty easy. Some of the other characters, like Baz, is the biggest guy. He, in terms of just detail and pixel space.
Or Spectre Knight.
And Spectre Knight's also a bit. Yeah. They took like a couple weeks to do. So.
Right. Woz would just be here, with it's like some other frame. It's like I don't know what. Like they all sort of look the same. It's like there's a side spinning around, and Spectre Knight's cape is flowing in some weird way.
Yeah.
And it was just like it was like 2 weeks of intense Spectre Knight insanity. That was right when you were having your baby.
Yeah. I did some of that at home while also holding my newborn. That was exciting.
All right. So let's move on to the next question. This is one that I've been wanting to ask you guys since I got a hold of the game, because the first thing I did when I got to the start menu was I put in the Konami code. Todd Oxtra asked, was there any plans to include the Konami code at all, or is it there and we don't know it yet, and can you tell us where?
I like the mystery, but we just throughout the project we've intentionally avoided any direct references to a specific game.
Right. So it was very much about keeping Shovel Knight as Shovel Knight, right? It's something where like there may be things that you remember from other games, like it gives you a hint of it, but there's nothing that's like explicit. Like what the thing we keep saying is no one will ever say it's dangerous to go alone. Take this, So so we included, we had like a whole bunch of cheat codes that were leaked online this week, and the Konami code is not among them. But I guess I would say this: if we had a Konami character in our game, then at that point I would feel comfortable putting the Konami code into our game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, if Konami is like, hey, we want to put Simon Belmont in your game, and then I would say, hey, maybe the way that you unlock him is by entering the Konami code,
Maybe we just don't tell anybody, and then the next update, Simon's just available.
Right.
You guys should just keep trying it.
Now I'm going to. Thanks a lot. All right, so the next question comes from Darius Rafael Sanchez. And then he asks, do you guys plan to make a 16-bit sequel called Super Shovel Knight, or can we expect a Shovel Knight 64?
Yeah, that's come up a couple times, just because those are just silly ideas that we have.
There are go-tos.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I would love to do a 16-bit, also a 3D platformer would be a lot of fun. Another one that gets said is Super Shovel Kart. It'd be just fun to do Shovel Knight in those styles of game.
Well, I'm especially excited about doing a 3D platform.
Yeah.
Super Mario 64 is one of my favorite games of all time, and just the way that Mario moves and that whole game is just so magical. I would be delighted to try and tackle a 3D Shovel Knight game and to try to have the same things that we have in this Shovel Knight game, but in 3D.
Yeah.
So it's instead of looking at Mario 64 and saying, oh yeah, Mario 64 has the side flip and the duck and the long jump and the back flip and all that. Instead of doing that, it's we would think about Shovel Knight's core mobility set and then like expand out from it in a more Shovel Knight way. So it's like, how would that look in 3D? How could you actually, like, could you actually fight one of the Order of No Quarter bosses, or whatever boss it would be in the future? Could you actually have a 3D fight with one of those characters and it'd be like awesome and badass the same way it is in,
like would you bounce on anything? Like, would there be consecutive bounces? How would you be able to do that? And like the targeting would be really hard.
Yeah.
That'd be a challenge that we'd love to take on for sure.
And keeping it intuitive, right? Like intuitive the way that I think that part of the reason that people have become so attached to Shovel Knight over such a short period of time is because it's so intuitive. It's like you pick it up, you press the buttons, and it's like you're kind of playing and you know what to do right from the beginning. And I know 3D games are like it's like they're an order of magnitude more complicated. Right?
Whole dimension of magnitude.
So, it would probably be an enormous amount of effort.
Did you want to go?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, whatever we're doing, though, it's coming on the heels of our stretch goal content that we're going to be putting out. So, like, we have to do a bunch of stuff because it was a Kickstarter, so we promised, a 4-player battle mode. We promised 3 playable bosses and challenge mode and gender swaps. Like, there's a lot of content that we are working on for the next year or so. So, any sequels or Shovel Knight 64s are definitely down the line, but also just very much fanciful jokes that we're telling each other.
Yeah. We could also be developing them in parallel.
Yeah, that could happen.
Speaking of your Kickstarter, I was actually that happened just in the period where I was like kickstarting everything. I don't know if I just got paid or something, but I remember I was like going and funding every indie game that I could find, and I think I was the 34th contributor. I was like, oh, this looks like a cool game. I don't know if it's going anywhere.
Oh, rad. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thanks.
But anyway, Shovel Knight, as a character, have you been surprised with how much people have been sticking with him and just loving him? Like, he's really just a blue knight that carries a shovel, yet people are fascinated with him.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Like, we've seen one example of cosplay and just countless fan arts, and it's just been really cool to see the amount of attachment people, like you're saying, like have towards the character.
Yeah, towards this goofy little character.
Yeah.
Right. So Bennett Billard asks, do you have a favorite scrapped concept for a night?
A scrapped concept?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. The way I forgot why that we don't. I was gonna say I don't have an answer to this question because we don't have scrapped night concepts. Yeah, I was thinking, why don't we have scrapped night concepts? And the reason, I think you were telling me, is because I forgot the way that we did this in the beginning is we did it by environment. So we said we want to have a flying machine level that's above the sky with a lot of wind and stuff. We said we want to around lava cave area. We want to do an ice area. We want to do like a forest plains type of area, right? Like we want to do a big mechanical tower. And so from each of those, like that's where we said, okay, well, if we're gonna have a graveyard, then maybe our boss knight should be, like a ghost scythe ghosty kind of guy. Like and so all of the like even Plague Knight, he was probably like the least defined, and he was called Dyna Knight at first, just because everything exploded around him. But then as we went more like with the Plague Doctor theme and the alchemy theme, that name got changed. And that was during the Kickstarter. Like I think his name was Dyna Knight up until like a week before when we were about to announce the character, and it's like, oh, like this is dumb. Should we call him Plague Knight? Yeah. We were making little adjustments like that, like even like during the Kickstarter.
Cool. So Martin Riggenbach asked us about 1 million questions for you guys, and we're just going to go over a few of them. Okay. You guys probably have the list in front of you. One of my favorites that he asked was, what sort of unexpected challenges did the retro aesthetic present during development?
Well, the retro aesthetic, the way that we really implemented that was mostly through the NES color palette. So the NES, back in the day, it could only run, 64 colors, and a good chunk of those were black. So it was actually down to basically 55 usable colors. And using those to really define the palette of the game was really important to have it feel retro or have it feel authentically NES. And the challenges that arose from that were the NES. All of the colors are just fully saturated and really, really bright. And we had levels like an underground level, and that's dark and in caves. And we also had like a spooky, scary, graveyard level. And traditionally in like games like Castlevania or and other games like that, you get most of the color changes from like high contrast, just very like detail with a lot of black. And we decided that maybe pursuing it just with the pure NES palette wasn't going to get us what we wanted, so we actually had to add a couple colors. And if you read the article that on Gama Sutra that David posted, you get a breakdown of which colors we actually changed and where they're used and stuff. But
and not just that, but like the technical breakdown too.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that, David D'Angelo put up a Gama Sutra article that describes all of the challenges that we had working like within NES limitations, and also what we did to attempt to break them. Like some things like sprite flickering just out of the game,
Yeah, we didn't want to make it anything that made the game look crappier or looked like it was struggling against its hardware.
And it's hard because it's so subjective,
Yeah, a lot of that just defines that era, like scan lines, was something that came up a couple times.
Yeah.
Right.
It was actually...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say it's interesting when you're trying to make a 2D platformer with modern technology, because nothing is built for it. Everything's built for 3D. Like physics systems. Like if you were to get an off-the-shelf physics system, they're always dealing with capsule collisions and weird collision resolution that just does not jive with a precise 2D game. It feels like it's a little Big Planet-y where everything's sort of mushy.
Yeah.
So I mean that I'd say that we put a lot of work into stripping away all of the extra things that are meant to make things easier in an effort to get down to the bare bones stuff to really make the game what it needed to be. That was kind of unexpected for me, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It was surprising to me just hearing from D'Angelo, David. He was struggling just getting that physics collisions to work, and just there's just a lot of unexpected things that I didn't think were going to come up. Because in my brain, it's just basic. So why wouldn't there just be a prepackaged thing out there? But we just live in a weird time where that just doesn't exist.
It's all 3D. It's as easy. It's as easy to make a Rust as it is to make a Shovel Knight.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you had to go back in the past a couple of months and you had to tell yourself something that you didn't know before starting development, what would you tell yourselves?
Before starting development, I would say, I don't know, because there's a lot of things that just came up that we just could not have prepared for. I guess things just the general company stuff got pretty hard to handle. There's just a lot of extra external things like lawyers and accountants and all that.
I don't know if I would have changed that necessarily though.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Where did we really mess up?
I don't know. It's hard to say because there's nothing that there's no regret when we cut something from the game or when we change it completely, because when you're developing something, it has to be iterative. You have to have a process where you make something and get it to where you think it might be okay, and then be willing to cut it down to its bare bones and start over again. So it's hard to say that you make sure you really pay attention during iteration 3 of Spectre Knight's Battle, because that's the one.
I mean, I'd say announcing our release date.
Probably that, yeah.
Too early, and we ended up missing it. I would have changed that. I would have said coming soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that stuff like that though is just so not really something we were totally thinking about for a lot of projects.
Right. Let's tackle the last Riggenbach question that we're gonna do. Martin asks, are there any ideas that the team loved but you had to cut for whatever reason? It was a Kickstarter project, so of course you probably had financial limitations and whatnot. If so, what were they and why?
Well, first off, I want to say I don't want to share all those ideas because a lot of them are going to end up in the stretch goal content. In fact, most of the ideas that it's like, oh, we just couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those are things that now we're probably just going to roll into the updates.
Yeah, I would say that we did cut like a tower stage.
That's the biggest one. Yeah,
we had planned to have a fourth stage there, and it was just like we were looking at the content and seeing what we had. And we had a lot already, so
yeah, it was just too much.
Yeah,
and so we just had to take a tower stage. Same thing with there are those little relic challenges. One of them's with the propeller dagger. One of them is with
the dust knucklers.
Yeah, and then the
phase locket.
The phase locket. Yeah. So initially we were planning on maybe having some more of those. Like instead of there just being 3, there would be like 5, or maybe we'd have like 8. Even though like I don't know how you would have one that's only flare wand or something, right? Where you have to
that'd be crazy. Just like things flying at you at all times.
Yeah, but it'd have to be if we're gonna force you to use it, it would have to be like you're hitting switches or you're breaking things, or it's like there's a stalactite on the ceiling, you hit it with a fireball to make it fall, or stuff like that. But so we didn't end up. I mean, there wasn't really work done on those, but that was an idea. Like that was part of the plan, and that was something that we ended up not putting in there. I don't know if I would go and put it back in, though, just because I think the game's nice and concise how it is now.
Yeah, I think it feels like a full package.
Yeah.
Right. Christopher Saunders asks, I've heard the game takes on many aspects of Mega Man, DuckTales, Zelda, etc. What were the choices simply based? Were these choices simply based on ideas within the original gameplay mechanics, or did they evolve and were added as you looked at past favorite 8-bit games and combined them in the final project? So I guess, is it a chicken or egg kind of scenario? Did you think of the ideas and then kind of fit them to the games that they're molded after, or were you inspired by these games and then created based after it?
Well, the game, from the beginning has always been very core in its mechanics. It's very focused on just a few things. And so as we were adding, we would look to see other examples of how those mechanics were used in other games, and then also just kind of like make the value judgment on ourselves, like what the changes in the specifics we wanted to go with, like for the jump height or for the height from the bounce of the shovel drop and stuff like that. And so we didn't say like, okay, what does DuckTales do? Let's do exactly that. It was more like let's see what bouncing looks like in Mario and DuckTales and other games that have a bounce technique like that, and let's kind of arrive to a conclusion that maybe feels right to us. And if it happened to coincide with DuckTales, then that's just because we both arrived at the same correct result,
Right. Some of the stuff though is definitely like direct inspiration. Like the way that the screens transition is like straight up Capcom NES. Mm-hmm. Like the things disappear, the screen scrolls, and everything appears, and that's like, I mean, that's pretty exact.
Yeah, but I think during that time, I've always thought of it this way, like instead of just referencing an exact game, it feels like it belongs during that time of when games are being made, because a lot of games are doing that. Like it's tackling the same issues, and so you would see these solutions in. Like he said, Capcom, not just Mega Man, because Capcom used that technique in multiple different situations.
It's in DuckTales, it's in Rescue Rangers. I mean, the way that screen scrolls is like, yeah, I mean, that's like straight up Capcom. But we made it a little bit faster, we made it a little bit smoother, we made it a little bit different to make it better than how the initial implementation was. Like in some of those Capcom games, the screen takes a really long time to scroll. Or like, I mean, I especially think about, this is Konami, but in Castlevania, it's like when you go through that door, it's like you wait at the door, it scrolls over so slowly.
Yeah, it's like it's loading all the objects, like it's just like delaying the time.
So it's like we had the ideas of that. We said, okay, well, we definitely want the screen to scroll like this. We definitely want it to be so that the enemies and objects appear after the screen is fully scrolled, right? Because if they were there, it wouldn't be very like NES-y. The way, like, okay, here's another example. The way that how Shovel Knight skids when he's running, but when you're in the air, if you land, you stop on a dime. That's straight up Mega Man, and like that's a mechanic that we thought like, this is the best way that we want to implement a platformer control for this type of game, and like it is the Mega Man solution, and that's the one that we want to go with.
Not to say that we've totally ripped off the Mega Man mobility, because there are stuff that we've added too. Like there's slight acceleration as Shovel Knight starts up that just makes him feel a little bit heavier. So he moves at a different speed.
So it's really a combo.
Yeah.
Right. I have a question. With you guys, was all of these influences based off of you playing it as a kid, or were you guys actively playing it, or did you just lock some intern in a closet and tell him to play every NES game ever?
It's a little bit of all of that.
It's mostly from us playing these games and loving them kind of together, and as a group. Like, we've been playing. Previously worked at Way Forward, which is another independent developer in SoCal. And while we were there, we put on an event called Mega May, and every May we would play all of the Mega Man games, or at least as many of them as we could, like in order. And sometimes we chose what it was going to be. We would do things like have contests, make up your own boss and do a drawing of it, or like what other contests did we have? I think it's like beating the game.
There were drinking games involved occasionally.
Yeah. It was definitely no minors. But, we would do that. And hell, I mean, we've been doing Mega May for probably 6 or 7 years running now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just things like that, right? Like keeping the game playing alive. I guess it doesn't seem like those games don't seem like throwbacks to me because I play so many of them so often.
Yeah, like the most played game on your 3DS is Zelda 2, isn't
right.
it?
Well, it's actually Monster Hunter.
Oh, it's Monster Hunter first.
And then Mario Kart or something like that. But then after that, it's Zelda 2 because that's my go-to that I just play over and over and over and over again.
Right. And one last question about Shovel Knight. Stephen McNell says, Are there any plans for Shovel Knight outside of video games? The character seems perfect for cool merchandise, and popularity is rising quickly.
Yes. We plan to inundate you with as much awesome Shovel Knight merchandise as we can cram down your gullet.
Sometimes literally, like I have cereal.
Food. But yeah, I would say yes. We already have T-shirts available on WeLoveFine.com. And we're, I guess that's all we have to announce right now, but we have so much cool stuff happening, right? I don't think so.
It wasn't? Yeah, it was.
I guess it was. Oh, yeah, because they did it on Toy Pizza.
It's just, not,
that's right.
It's not available.
It's not made, it's not actually available. Yeah, we're doing a shovel, a real, like a foam shovel that looks exactly like one that Shovel Knight holds in the game.
Yeah, think about like those Minecraft.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Swords, exactly that.
The pickaxes.
So, the exact same geek, and I think they're going to be available like whatever trade show is next, right? Like San Diego Comic-Con or PAX Prime or something like that. Yeah, it's going to be.
Can't wait.
It's going to be so rad.
And there's so much other stuff that we want to do too. Like I really want to do like I kind of mentioned the cereal where it's like chocolate pebbles but with like marshmallow gems inside. So it's just like this horrible sugary ultra cereal.
We would love to do like a late 80s, early 90s style marketing and merchandising campaign for Shovel Knight, the same way that all of those great games from the 8-bit era had the same sort of merchandising campaigns. So yes, I would say we're going to be having a really close eye on that because I know that it's so easy to make junk through merch, right? You sign a bunch of deals and then there's just like a sea of Shovel Knight and it's just, it's all trash. So we're going to work really hard and make sure that any merchandise that we put out is up to the levels of quality, that we expect kind of for ourselves and for everything,
Right. Okay.
So, it's coming.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to be first in line for all that stuff, especially the cereal. I need some of that. So we have some questions about you guys, Yacht Club.
Okay.
First, let me just start off with one. Shovel Knight was really successful, and you said the sales have been pretty good so far, better than your expectations. Would you guys just start publishing and developing your own game, or is Kickstarter such a big portion of who you are now that would you go with a Kickstarter campaign?
Oh, for like our next game, yeah, that's a good question because, Kickstarter is not just a good way to make money; it's also a good way to make a community that just really likes your game and gets really excited and get really in behind it.
Yeah, we had 15,000 people with our initial Kickstarter, and it's like after doing that, even though we were developing the game for another year, we had people evangelizing us, and that were fans from day one.
And then we were in constant communication with some of them too. Like they a couple guys show up in the streams a bunch. Like we had, like we know them by their usernames, like Bladed Falcon and like Reggie Ruler, like these names of people that like we never really met, but they just kind of like they glommed onto the project and really became a part of it. So like that's one of the huge advantages of Kickstarter. The huge disadvantage I would say is like Kickstarter is like when you write a whole project on a Kickstarter, it's very stressful. it's very harsh to know that like if it fails, then you fail, and if you don't live up to the expectations of the Kickstarter, then you're failing the Kickstarter community. So there's a lot of pressure there.
And it's just an enormous amount of work to maintain and run the Kickstarter, to do physical rewards, and also just the pressure of knowing. Of everyone in the world knowing that your game is already in development. A lot of times a game will come out and it'll only be announced 3 months before, right? Like Super Mario 3D World, when they were making that game, like they'd been working on it for a year before they announced it, or a year and a half. So it's like you have a little bit of time to kind of like congeal your game into how you want it to be before the public gets a chance to like have at it. With Shovel Knight, it was the opposite, right? Where it's like our PAX demo, like the demo that at another company you would bring and say, hey, this is a vertical slice of a game that we want to develop. Can we do it? I mean, that's the same thing that
it's basically a pitch.
Right? Yeah.
It's like the earliest stages that you could possibly imagine a game could be and still look good was what we did. And then everybody just saw the rest of it. Right. So it's definitely drawing for I don't think the public is really used to that kind of dev cycle.
Right. Yeah. Opening it up to everyone. I think it creates a responsibility for us to educate people a little bit more about the game development process and how, things like how the money works, how development works, how publishing works. Because I think overall there are probably there's a lot of misinformation about there.
Or just like the information just doesn't exist, so the general consensus kind of arises more than the truth. Right. So it's weird battling like invisible forces like that. So Kickstarter in the future might be maybe more of a limited capacity, like after the game is more shaped up, be a better idea what's going on, or maybe it's like for an ancillary part of the game, like recently
extra DLC, something,
or merch or something like that.
Right, like you were gonna say like the Chester.
Yeah, the Chester comes to mind. Chester from Don't Starve, where it was just like a Kickstarter for the doll, right? Is that what it was?
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, there's a game called Don't Starve that's made by Clay Entertainment, and it has like sort of a gory influence, like Edward Gorey, not like rip your head off gory. Okay, I guess it's sort of the same thing. But anyway, that game did a Kickstarter for their character named Chester, no relation to our character named Chester, who is he's like a little animal thing that has a big, he like follows you around, and he's like furry, but he's a chest, and he has like feet, and he's like your only friend in the Don't Starve world, and you can store items in him, which is like extremely useful. Imagine it's like Minecraft, but you have a chest that follows you around.
Right.
So everyone came to love Chester, I think, just because he's like the only positive
nice thing
in the whole game. And so they did a Kickstarter to make Chester like real Chesters that are like 10 inches across, that you can open it up and put whatever you want in there, and it's just like cool Don't Starve plushies. So maybe something like that. And I mean, hell, maybe we just do a Kickstarter again.
Yeah, it's still up in the air. We still are reeling from the we're still like emotionally and physically reeling from the crunch time that was Shovel Knight towards the end of it. So it's hard to say what our plans are to be in the future.
Yes, I mean right now I'd say we're all just kind of like we're in like recovery mode and just trying to deal with like the patches and support and like everything for like this initial release of Shovel Knight.
Right. And hopefully Joseph McNeil, that probably answered your question, who asked how crowdfunding is going to shape the gaming market. Now, let's move on. Jeremy Connell asks, how is it working with Nintendo to put out a game on the eShop? Do you have any suggestions for Nintendo about what would make it easier for indies to publish exclusively on Nintendo platforms?
Yeah, working with Nintendo so far has been really great, just in terms of them being willing to work with us to do crazy things. Kickstarter is sort of like this new thing for everybody, and so
for a company as big as Nintendo to allow us to like get our hands on thousands and thousands of codes and distribute them to people I mean, the fact that they've taken us along to shows, like trade shows, right? Like they took us to PAX Prime, they took us to IndieCade.
And some media events that they just showed the game up.
Yeah, Nintendo media events. I mean, they've been extremely kind to us, and it's been wonderful working with them. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as like suggestions on how the Nintendo can move forward, I don't know. It seems like they're heading in the right direction. They have a lot of people that you can talk to that are just the guys to talk to for certain situations.
Like having Dan Edelman there,
exactly.
Who heads up the kind of eShop content stuff. He's a guy that I feel like we're so comfortable with. Like he's like the nicest guy in the world, and I would say indies should just kind of get in contact with him and see how they could work with Nintendo. As far as suggestions go, I mean, I guess it would be nicer if all of Nintendo's areas, like Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of Japan, were all a little bit more like the same thing.
Yeah.
Working with Nintendo of America is a little bit separate from working with Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of Japan. So it would be I think that would be like my only suggestion.
Yeah, maybe the biggest thing that I think of is maybe just being able to put the game out in Europe sooner than we are currently able to do right now would be good. But it's all a process, and we are a super small team, and Nintendo is learning how to work with super small teams right now. So
right. They've had to kind of do some things for us that they wouldn't have to do for a larger. We've been. We're incredibly thankful to Nintendo for helping us through all this, and now now I feel like we have the power to kind of do it to stand on our own 2 feet, and it's just really awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. That hopefully answered David's question. David? I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
David E.
David E. Let's see. One last listener question from Rudy Rigolato asks, what makes them want to put a mode like butt mode into Shovel Knight? You must have a good sense of humor to do something like that. Yeah, well, what is the planning procedure to sit down and say, oh, let's do butt mode?
Very serious and very intense.
Yeah, there was a lot of yelling matches about butt mode. Yeah. They're smoking cigarettes at 2 a.m. How are we going to get this to work? Butt mode was a stretch goal that was made up. It was at the end of our Kickstarter campaign, and we had kept having to add stretch goals. And so, but we were at the end of our rope. There was nothing else.
Yeah, it's 5 hours until the thing is totally over.
Right. And we kept coming in. Yeah. We don't want to sign up to do anything else. And so on the stream, on that crazy 24-hour marathon stream, we said, okay, after this, the next stretch goal will be butt mode. Yeah. The idea being that it's if we say what butt mode, it's butt mode. Oh, do I even want that? Maybe everyone would stop contributing money or something like that, so we could catch a break. So
it was the fabled, unknown, secret extra stretch goal that we never had.
Yeah, and so it was is butt mode going to be in the game? Are you guys going to put in butt mode? And of course, this is a thing where it's a dozen people that were on the stream are demanding it, right? Yeah. It's just a very small inside joke at this point. But sure enough. But yeah, one day it was I think it was D'Angelo, and just butt mode's in. It's oh my god, that was the first secret code that we had. Yeah, it was completely amazing.
By far my favorite.
Can you tell people what the code is, just in case they don't want to look around? They're already playing it. They have their Shovel Knight open right now.
Yeah, it's X & BUTT.
And you type that in as your name when you're doing the character or your file creation,
right?
And it tells you, hey, this is a secret code.
Right.
So
it's X and but all one string.
Yep.
Okay, and one last question from me, and then we'll wrap everything up. So, this Shovel Knight Kickstarter got a lot of press early on, a lot of great press early on. I remember the first month it happened, it was on IGN, it was everywhere. People were being inundated with it, and for good reason, it got a lot of popularity. Were you guys afraid at all that this was all going to be front loaded and all the publicity was going to happen early on, and then it was going to kind of launch with no fanfare.
Yes, I mean we were afraid of everything all the time.
Yeah. It's safe to say that if you're asking about something that we're afraid of, then the answer is yes.
It's like, have you thought about that? And are you worried about it? It's like, yes, we are. And chances are that like that meant that we took some steps to do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a concern as we were going. It's like, oh man, all the like the Kickstarter hype, it's all dying down. Or like people are going to stop. Like after a certain amount of time, people are going to stop caring.
Yeah.
We're going to miss our window.
Yep, there's still fear of that. I mean, we've had a really strong launch, but
even after it came out, we had an amazing launch. We sold a really great amount that we're really happy with. And it's only been, like 2 weeks, and now it's like it's like, oh, I don't know, guys. Like, I feel like if we're the biggest company in the world and we're making like millions of dollars every day, it's going to be like, oh, but like when are we going to be a real game company?
Yeah, sort of like some always perpetual worry, but that's because everything falls to us. Everything from the marketing to the making the game to just everything that makes a company is all on our shoulders. So we feel the weight of that for sure.
but it's so, I mean, it's also wonderful and liberating, and I mean being able to put a game out like this where we made like no compromises, right? Like this was a game that we wanted to make. We didn't cut any content that we really didn't feel it was appropriate to cut. There was no publisher or managers or anything breathing down our necks trying to make us compromise anything about the game. And look at the result. It's like, look how much people are loving it.
People are really it really resonates with a lot of people.
It's incredible. It's truly incredible.
Right. Well, that is it for the episode of Better Known Indie. Thanks again for listening. We are doing a giveaway. As I mentioned before, I was one of the early Kickstarters for Shovel Knight. However, because we got a press review copy, I no longer need my Wii U version. So I'm giving it out to a faithful listener, whoever they may be, who asked what Yacht Club's favorite question is. Of course, there are a ton of great questions, and it's impossible to choose one, but you have to choose one, Yacht Club.
Yeah, I think we were looking at the questions, and I think Martin Riegenbach had a lot to ask and really nailed it. So I think we're going to go with him.
Yeah, he had a lot of questions too.
Yeah.
He did, yeah, that's true. He came at us with about 8 questions. So Martin, you're going to win the copy, and I'll make sure to get back to you right away with it.
Yeah, congrats. Yeah.
Enjoy.
Do the Miiverse. It's awesome.
We worked so hard on it for you.
Oh, speaking of which, this was a question I want to ask, and I don't know if you're going to give me a straight answer on it. But this came out on many platforms, and it's most likely absolutely going to come out on many more platforms. So far, out of Steam, 3DS, and Wii U, if you had to pick one, if they could only buy one, which one would you guys actively recommend?
It's hard. Okay, this is what I usually say. The 3DS, the stereoscopic looks awesome, and being able to choose your items on the touch screen is really cool, and the Street Pass is really zany and weird and fun. But also the Miiverse is really exciting on the Wii U, and you can't stop looking at those drawings.
Well, so which one would you choose?
Because I have big fat hands, I would say the Wii U, just because I like that controller. But I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I really like the Street Pass, and I also really love the stereoscopic. Maybe it's because I was the one that was first. Our programmer had to break his eyes making it work. And then I had to break my eyes trying to put all the layers in. And it's like,
it was a literal headache. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a literal headache for weeks to get that in. But man, it was so worth it. That 3D looks so big on the 3DS. So I'll say 3DS.
All right, yeah, that was my biggest issue. Was I was trying to choose between, when I was reviewing it, what to recommend, and the 3D was so beautiful. But of course, the sound design and everything was so great, and I didn't think that the 3DS really showed it off as much as my
That's
big
true.
screen.
Yeah.
Right. I always use headphones when I'm listening to it, and it's because the 3DS, especially the XL, those speakers are just really tinny.
The XL speakers are not as good as the original 3DS speakers. That's for sure.
Right. All right. Well, anyway. As always, make sure you check out Middle of Nowhere Gaming for the latest in news, editorials, and podcasts in terms of video games, especially my review of Shovel Knight. I was the reviewing editor for it, and I absolutely love the game. Don't expect anything under 9 out of 10.
Oh, man.
You can, of course, find the main site at middleofnowheregaming.com. However, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and the YouTube pages. You can follow us on Twitter at mong.com. That is all spelled out, by the way. It's mong dot with the dot spelled out and com. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/middleofnowheregaming. And last but not least, if you aren't already listening to us on there, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/mongnetwork. How about you guys? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, we have our Twitter page, which is at Yacht Club Games, and our Facebook is pretty active, which is facebook.com/Yacht Club Games.
/Yacht Club
Games.
It's all Yacht Club Games for the most part, not Shovel Knight specifically.
Yeah, exactly. So we also do Twitch streams, so you can check us play games, and every now and then I'll do a pixel stream where I just record my desktop and and listen to music on Pandora, and you guys get to see how a pixel artist makes his living. So then that's at twitch.tv/Yacht Club Games. If you want to follow us personally on Twitter, I'm at Norquoz, NORKWOZ.
And I'm at ShawneyFace YCG, SEANYFACEYCG.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you know what? Message me to that, and I'll put links where the YouTube video is.
Great.
Okay, awesome. I was going to say if you wanted to buy the game. I mean,
if you want to buy the game, totally do it. It's on shovelknight.com.
Yes, it's on shovelknight.com. It's also on Steam. It's also on the Wii U eShop and the 3DS eShop.
That's weird.
And good old games.
Playing to buy our game is like a new thing.
Yeah, you can actually buy it.
Yeah, it's on GOG as well. So yeah,
absolutely go do that. It was a phenomenal game, and I gushed to you guys over email about it. So. Anyway, thank you guys for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, so that wraps everything up. Listen to us next time, everyone. Mong!
Mong!